You are now listening to the Life of Produk Podcast.
Yeah, what up, man? It's the boy Produk. You're now locked into the Life of Produk Podcast. Did you miss me? Did y'all miss me? I would miss me. Come on, man. Don't front. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. I know y'all missed the kid. I took a little hiatus. I got to stop doing y'all like that because y'all be hitting me up like, yo, P was good. Yo, man, like me lifing. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. It's episode 122, man. Shouts out to all of the new supporters and new subscribers. Shouts out to the returning subscribers, the returning listeners, to the new listeners. Shouts out to the last previous guests. Shouts out to the homie Cody Birch, Cody Powerhouse Birch. I don't know when your next fight is, man, but God bless you. Whenever your next fight is, I'm wishing you well. I'm wishing you good luck. Get that work, brother. Shouts out to Ralphie that put me I kind of knew Cody already, but he connected he pretty much middleman the interview and everything like that. As a matter of fact, I got to get Ralphie on the show. There's a lot of fighters, man. That I've been tapping in with. I got to get on the show, man. I got some bare knuckles fighters that's gonna come through soon. Like this, I got some things brewing for y'all. I got some things in the works for y'all, and I'm very excited. 2024, boy. Woo. 2024 is weird. Did y'all see the social media calendar where it showed like a breakdown of everything that's happened every month for 2024 so far? Yeah, we're not even talking about some of that stuff. I'm not touching on the Diddy stuff today. It's been overkill. It really has been overkill, man. I want to talk about some sports, but all of that, there's a whole hip-hop civil war going on right now. And I don't want to talk too much about what's going on in hip-hop because I'm waiting for Cousin Damien to call back into the show. I want to talk about that with him because me and the cousin, we be talking our hip-hop stuff, and it's what we do. But there's a whole hip-hop civil war going on right now. Boy, we all know that, it was pretty much set off with the Future song like that had Kendrick Lamar on it. Future, yo, listen, on the side note, that boy Metro Boomin needs to be placed in certain conversations, man. He's being placed in conversations from the younger generation, but us middle child generation to the older generation, y'all need to start placing Metro Boomin into these conversations. Because Metro Boomin, he did his thing production-wise on both those Future albums. Listen, his album itself was dope, but the production on the Future album, We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You, I feel like that production alone, it should be decoded. It should be studied in hip-hop university classes. The boy is dope. He's dope. And he's Metro Boomin, when it's all said and done, he's going to go down as one of the greats as far as producers. I'm calling it right now. He's going to go down as one of the greats. But there's a whole hip-hop civil war. Let me just say this before I get into other things. People going to get mad at me for saying this. I don't care what people say on the internet and things like that. We all have our opinions on it. From a hip-hop standpoint, I see why people are mad at J. Cole for apologizing to Kendrick, right? But them two, that's his mans. That's his mans. When you and somebody are friends and y'all got history outside of work, outside of entertainment, outside of music, the bars hit different. They hit different. You know what I'm saying? I personally feel like Cole. I personally feel like Kendrick. And I personally feel like Drake. All of them, they got hitters behind them where this whole situation could have really went left field. And I also feel like J. Cole put the music aside. He put the people that's behind him aside. And he put his grown manness and his humbleness to the forefront. And that allowed him to apologize. It was sitting bad on his soul. His soul wasn't sitting right. So by him apologizing, he's regained the utmost respect for me. I always had a high level of respect for J. Cole, but it just doubled. By him apologizing to Kendrick, I think that was very noble. I believe that they probably had conversations behind the scenes after that, or a conversation, or they probably spoke to mutual friends and people mediating and things like that. They probably spoke, you know what I'm saying? SZA rocks with Drake heavy. SZA's a part of TDE. Punch is her manager, you know what I'm saying? So there's connections there, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to really get into that right now like other podcasters, but I am happy that he apologized. That man might have heard things behind the scene that we're not privy to, or seen things we're not privy to, and saw that whole situation could have really went left field, because apparently there's been something brewing between him and Drake for over a decade now. And apparently, see, I'm not like some of those people. I can't go back and be like, oh, he said that. Apparently, there have been shots traded back and forth between both of these dudes on record that a lot of us didn't pick up on. And then the first person shooter. So when first person shooter came out, I didn't look at that as a Kendrick disc or taking shots at Kendrick. Then I went back and listened to it, and I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? But these are the things that, I think a lot of people don't understand that it's okay to put your pride aside and apologize. It's okay to say, I'm sorry. But off of that, we got to talk about the Ryan Garcia and the Devin Haney fight. Oh, man. Yo, I'm calling it fight of the year. I'm calling it fight of the year. Yo, 2024 has been so far and will be one of the best years in boxing of the 2020s. Man, it's wild, yo. We really living in the 20s right now. When I was a kid at school, we read about the 20s. It was the roaring 20s. I guess this is what we could call it, because 2020 started with a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Now we got other countries trying to devalue our currency. It's getting kind of crazy. The 20s is crazy. But 2024, yo, let me tell you something. We had the Francis Ngannou Joshua fight so far. We had the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight so far. I just read the other day that Conor McGregor is fighting. I think he's fighting Chandler. Conor McGregor is fighting, I believe, in June. We got also in June the Deontay Wilder and the Asian fighter. I think his name is Zhang, the one that lost to Joe Parker. But he beat, I forgot the other dude he beat. Then we got the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Let me tell you something. No disrespect to Jake Paul. I just don't get excited about his fights. The only fight I've ever got excited about Jake Paul was the Tommy Fury fight. Because I think Tyson Fury, little brother, got something. I think he got substance to him. I also think that he has a lot of potential. I want to see Tommy Fury stop fighting YouTube boxers. No disrespect to Jake Paul and no disrespect to KSI, but get back in the ring with real fighters, so you can keep getting your record up and you could keep getting the experience you need to get to Tyson Fury's level. I believe he's like 10-0 or 11-0, something like that. Shouts out to Uncle Mike. You know what I'm saying? From Brooklyn, I could call him Unc. Shouts out to the OG. Get your bag, OG. Netflix cutting that check. Get your bag. Side note, did y'all see when Mike Tyson and Shannon Briggs was shadow boxing with their shirts off in Brownsville the other day? That was fire. Let me tell you something. If Jake Paul could get a bag, if Mike Tyson can get a bag, so can Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs can get a bag as well. Call that man phone. After this Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight in July, no matter how it goes, and I know we all saying Tyson gonna knock him out. Tyson has it. He has what it takes to knock him out, but Tyson is in his 50s and Jake Paul is in his 20s, which I think is unfair. Tyson also is older. He's been hotboxing and smoking for the last 10 years, and he has asthma. I don't think it's fair for Jake Paul to keep fighting people that are somewhat at a disadvantage, but I do believe Tyson is going to beat him. But if they can make that fight happen, make that Shannon Briggs and Mike Tyson fight happen, because I don't think we didn't get that fight back in the day. I don't know if I believe they was in the same weight class. I think Shannon Briggs his career might have popped a little later towards the end of Mike Tyson's career when Mike Tyson was finishing and everything. Let's get that fight. Can we please get the Shannon Briggs and Mike Tyson fight? Even if it's like next year or towards the end of the year, because he's fighting Jake Paul in July. Let's get that fight. That's all I'm asking. But let me tell you something. This is a great year for combat sports in general, between MMA fights, between boxing fights. Bare Knuckle is doing their thing. Shouts out to Dada 5000 and the league that he's got there. Yo, you gotta tap in with this. Tap in with it. Shouts out to Karate Combat. Karate Combat is coming up too. A lot of y'all only know what traditionally accustomed to as far as like UFC and boxing, but you also have PFL. I don't know if Bellator's still doing anything, but you got PFL, you got Karate Combat. You know what I'm saying? You got BKFC, you got BYB Extreme. These are other fight leagues that are really making a lot of noise. And not for nothing. Let me tell you something. 2020s is crazy, right? We in 2024 now. By 2027, 2028, if the fight game keeps going the way it's going, can we see like a crossover? Can we see like a multiverse mashup from all of these leagues, from the bare knuckle guys to the MMA fighters? Need more money. I was reading the other day, UFC is worth over $11 billion. $11 billion. 11.7 is what I read. I don't know if that's true or not. But if that's true, I look at and I Google the numbers. Google might not always be accurate. I don't know. But can these guys get a bigger bag? I'm not saying that they're not being paid. They're being paid greater money than a lot of us are already making. But I believe that if they're going to go out to get slammed, choked, broken nose, cauliflower ear, they could get a bigger bag. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's just my opinion. G is the boy product, Life of Produk Podcast, episode 122. We will be right back with the second part of the show. Yeah, what up, man? It's the boy Product. You're now locked into the Life of Product Podcast. This is episode 122. If you need advertisement, sponsorships, or interviews, it is lifeofproduct@gmail.com. That is PRODUK, or Korporate.Ent @gmail.com. That is corporate with the K. Like I said, man, shouts out to the people that have been really supporting the show. Y'all been reposting it, y'all been sharing my clips. You guys been going on the YouTube channel, sharing it, viewing it, liking it. I appreciate all of y'all, man. This is a journey for all of us. I know I talked about sports and entertainment on the first part of the show, but I do want to get kind of serious today. You ever have things that are like heavy on your spirit and you just feel like you need to talk about it? I might not talk about it necessarily for myself, but I'm talking about it to help other people. Today's episode 122. Episode 122 is titled You Have to Be Stingy With Yourself. I feel sometimes we have to be stingy with ourselves. Podcasting is therapeutic for me, right? You might be a music producer, making beats is therapeutic, writing songs is therapeutic. You might be a sports player, going to the gym is therapeutic for you, right? With therapy comes medicine. You know what I'm saying? With podcasting, with whatever you're doing, you're gonna have to hit a point where you self-medicate. Being alone can be a form of self-medicating for some people, and I'm a firm believer. I've done this. It works. I think sometimes we have to become stingy with ourselves, not only for ourselves, but for our surroundings, for our children, and for our loved ones, and people that are truly close to us. If you're a dude, right? I'm speaking to the fellas right now, right? Say if you're a dude, and I'm telling you, you need to be stingy with yourself. If you're a dude, you got your girl at home, your kid at home, your kids at home, or whatever. Say if this is first time parenthood for you, you can't go run the streets every weekend with your homeboys. I know dudes or new dudes that had a newborn, and every Saturday morning they was at the park playing basketball. Every Saturday morning they was at the gym playing basketball. I knew a couple dudes that was doing that. Some of them, it worked for their situation. That's how him and his girl or wife or whatever had it set up. Some of them it didn't. Some of them it caused problems. Now, I've been in a situation where years ago, my ex, the baby was young or whatever. If you ain't going to work and come home, it could create problems. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go hang out, it could create problems. You might not even be going to hang out. You might have to go to like a family thing, or you might have to go just do something, and that female is not going to look at it. See, here's the thing, right? You can't tell a person how to look at something or how their opinion should be on something. You can only explain yourself. If I'm telling you, if this is not what it is, or this is what it is, that's the most I can do. Now, on the flip side, that person, how they receive it is on them. I can't reword it 10 times. I can only tell you it's this way or try to rephrase it that way, but that's what it is. But we have to be stingy with ourselves. Sometimes not for us, for the people around us. If you're a woman and you got a kid or you got kids, I know women that go out all the time. I don't think anything is wrong with that. I'm not one of those dudes that like, oh God, you got kids, go sit down. No, go hang out and decompress and recharge your battery. That's what you need to do. And I tell a lot of people that. But not everybody's gonna look at it like that. If she's a woman and she's got kids, say the kids is 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, she got daughters, and having daughters is a real thing. If you're a woman, and I'm not saying this to put any type of label on any woman listening or watching this video right now, this podcast. I'm not putting no type of label on you, but if you are a woman and you have daughters, you need to watch how you move, because your daughter might see some stuff and formulate an opinion or think, oh, mommy did it, I could do it. It doesn't always work like that. She might think you're out doing X, Y, Z. You might have got fresh or sexy that Saturday night, put a nice outfit on and went to a book club. She might think you went to club, get it in. She might think you shaking and baking, bang, bang. That might not be what you're doing. But like I said, your kids are watching this. They're going to formulate an opinion. So you have to sometimes not only be stingy for yourself, but you have to be stingy for them. You might have to be stingy for your partner or your loved one. You might have to get to a point where if you and this woman are dating, or if you and this man are dating, them DMs is closed. You're gonna have to do that. If y'all getting serious now, if you're a person, you do business and things like that, and you only answering business DMs, you're only answering for family, that's cool. But if you and this woman get to a point where y'all really, really serious, or you and this man get to a point where y'all really, really serious, and people are constantly, you can't tell people not to DM. You can't tell. People are going to do what they want to do. We're visual creatures. So if shorty posts something is fire, you know what I'm saying? That man just might slide in her DM. 10 men might slide in her DM, but it's on her how she reacts to it. So at the end of the day, you might have to shut certain stuff down. I'm not saying shut your social media down, but shut down the communication that you probably had previously. Once you and this person get serious, you're gonna have to do that. You might have to. I don't tell people, like, I don't think people should have to cut their circle of friends whenever they get into a relationship. I don't think a person should have to do that. Now, there's stipulations to that. The circumstances, if those circle of friends are not good for you, you know what I'm saying? If you're a dude and you got circle of friends, or your mans in them, they keep a couple joints on deck. All it take is a phone call sometimes. All it take is a text message. And if she knows those are the type of friends that you have, she is not going to want you to hang out with those friends. You know what I'm saying? There has to be boundaries. I'm not saying cut friends off. I had a best friend that cut me, and it was three of us. I had a best friend that cut me off and the other best friend off because he kept getting caught cheating and was blaming us like we was the ones bringing the females around when we wasn't even with him when he was doing it. You know what I'm saying? I guess his lies worked. Him and Shorty ended up staying together and they got married. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen Son in over 10 years, which was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because when he was out doing his thing, we wasn't really a part. We wasn't a part of that. We wasn't even with him when he was doing that. But that's just how it is for some people. And you're gonna have to get to a point where you're gonna have to set boundaries. You're gonna have to set boundaries. If you and this girl are serious, y'all getting serious, y'all living together or whatever, y'all engaged, married, whatever. Your man's in them that single. You could be around them, but when the clock strike 12 and the joints start coming in, and you gotta leave. Go home, brother. Go home, because at the end of the day, it's gonna, even if you could have the most discipline in the world. When you hanging out with your mans and they single and they start bringing joints around, it's still gonna look bad on you, to your woman. Then, God forbid, you're out somewhere and the wrong person see y'all. You gotta go home. Be stingy with yourself to protect not just yourself, but to protect your relationship and the feelings of the person that you love. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. I think a lot of people, I hope people that's listening to this podcast or watching this podcast could take that in and hear it from, you probably never met me before, but consider me a stranger. Take it from a stranger that's letting you know from the outside, and these are the things that could really cause a lot of damage. You don't want that damage. You want your relationship to be smooth as possible. You know what I'm saying? Just like that, smooth as possible. Because women, let me tell you something, women will be steps ahead of you and you won't even know. Real talk, women will be steps ahead of you and you won't. A lot of men don't just be nonchalant to stuff, but women are investigators. You know what I'm saying? Like, they like Inspector Gadget. Like, they looking at everything, they watching everything, and that's cool. Go do what you do. If you a man and you ain't doing nothing, that's fine. But I'm talking for the people that are actually in real relationships. If that's a situationship, and you and Shorty just smashing and bong bong, that really it doesn't apply that much. Like, there's a gray area in there, and I think understanding can also help with you being stingy with yourself, because if you're busy and you and her or you and him didn't reach that level yet, but they understand, okay, you're gonna get time from me on these days, but you're not gonna get that type of time from me. I have a career. I have children at home. I have other obligations and responsibilities. That person needs to respect that and respect that, okay, this person needs to really tend to themselves when they get free time. I can't get the time I want out of that person that I require or I desire. Now, it's up to you to sign that contract. You know what I'm saying? It's a love contract, baby. You know what I'm saying? Bang, bang, write your name on it, initial it. It's up to you. Don't agree with that and partake in that and then go cry about it later. A lot of people do that. Like, I think people don't keep it real with themselves whenever they enter into these relationships or these situationships. And I think that's unfair to the other person, because if that person is being upfront with you and letting you know this is what it is and this is not what it is, and you say okay and then you complain about it later, but then on the flip side of that too, you as the person letting them know, they're probably going to look at you like, okay, we've been rocking for this long. When are you going to be able to do that? You have to consider at a certain point putting that person's feeling first. Put that person's feelings first and say, all right, we've been rocking for this long. I need to let this person know if we're going to get serious, if we're not going to get serious, because you don't want to hold he or she up. He or she might have another option, and they're pushing that option or options to the side for you because they really want you that bad. Let's just keep it real. We in 2024. People had options before they met you. They might not have wanted to rock with those options, but they had options. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something a lot of people don't want to hear. But we keep it real on this G as the Boy Product, Life of Produk Podcast, episode 122. We will be right back with the third segment of the show. Yeah, what up, man? It's the boy Product. We're now back with the Life of Product Podcast. This is episode 122. Be stingy with yourself. Talking back on the whole sports side of everything. Shouts out to the Knicks. We are 2-1 right now against Philly. We are 2-1 against Philly. I pray we make it past the first round. Y'all pray we make it past the first round. Shouts out to Brunson. Brunson deserves MVP, but that's just me. Oh, shouts out to Andrew Reese and Camila Cardoza. They got drafted in the WNBA draft to Chicago Sky. Shouts out to them. Shouts out to Dawn Stanley for doing her thing. She's like 109-3 collectively over like the last, I think, 2-3 seasons or something like that. That's dope. Shouts out to Caitlin Clark for being the number one draft pick and going to Indiana. It's going to be a tough season in WNBA, fam. I'm excited. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, it's episode 122. 122 is titled Be Stingy With Yourself. We were talking on the last segment on the relationship side of things. I want to talk more on the family side of things. I think certain people, and I've done this before, I think certain people hit a point where they decide to be stingy with themselves, and it's not that person acting funny. It's not. I think some people realize that they were able to step back and look at everything as a broad spectrum and decide that, okay, I need to go sit in the corner for a minute. Let me go time out myself before life times me out. And I think we need to do that. I think sometimes when people decide to be stingy with themselves, they make a harsh decision, a grown-up decision to protect their energy. And I don't think everybody has the capacity to understand that. I think some people from the outside will look at that person as that person is being funny, and it's not about that person being funny. I think that person looked at their life as a whole and really understood that where they were at right there in that point, they needed to hit the pause button. Sometimes you need to hit the pause button. If life is a movie, you need to pause it sometimes. You might need to scrub back a little bit and look at things and understand that this is where you are right now at this certain point. There is nothing wrong with that. There was, at the end of the day, let me tell you something, right? I've said this before, right? At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff, none of it matters. None of it, your money don't matter because when you die, you can't take it. A lot of it doesn't matter. Your materials don't matter because when you die, you can't take it. They fit you in a coffin or they cremate you. You can't take none of that. When you hit, God, by the grace of God, you hit 60, 70, 80 years old, it doesn't matter if you marry with a wife. It don't matter if your grandkids is with you. When you look in that mirror, you are looking at you and you are looking at only you. And it's your decisions right now. It is your decisions right now that are going to play a factor in, one, you making it that far to 60, 70, 80 years old. It is you that's going to make that played a major part on how comfortable you are going to be when you hit 60, 70, 80 years old, how happy you are going to be when you hit 60, 70, 80 years old. I'm not saying that family or your kids, anybody like that, are not going to be there to help you and assist you. They most likely will because older people always need help. But at the end of the day, it is you who are going to pave that path right now. Your decisions, the level of prayer that you have, the level of understanding that you have, that's going to pave that path for you to get there and just to make it to 60, 70 years old. So at the end of the day, if you have to take a break right now, take that break. That break might save your life. You know what I'm saying? You got people out here really going through it mentally, man. You got people that are going through it mentally right now. I watched the clip just today, matter of fact. I watched the clip and there was a kid in high school and he attacked the teacher. I believe he attacked a woman, a female teacher, because she took his Nintendo Switch, right? So people like myself, the first thing we do, we run to the comments. You know what I'm saying? Because the people in the comments be having all the information. Because I ain't about to sit here and just Google this, go back to this one. I ain't doing all that. Because I might have maybe 2-3 minutes to dedicate that because I'm a busy person, right? And my attention span is short. I don't care about certain stuff. But I said, let me go to the comments. This kid attacked this teacher who took his Nintendo Switch. They said that the kid was autistic. They also said that the kid, I forgot what city and state he was in, there was a program for him. The program was stripped away, and the mother explained to them he did not need to be in a regular school. He couldn't function. They wasn't trying to hear her. They put him in a regular school, and I believe that wasn't the first time he attacked somebody. So people are really going through it. Now, we might be looking at it from the outside like, yo, this kid, lock him up. This kid attacked that woman over Nintendo Switch. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be no level of discipline because regardless of him having mental health issues, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this, depending on the level of mental health that person is at, that person still needs to be disciplined, because at the end of the day, and I might care about a person's mental health, society doesn't care about a person's mental health. They don't care. So this is where we at now. This kid is attacking people and getting in trouble. It's scary out here. People are really going through it. So we might look at it like, oh, lock him up, lock him up. In his mind, him being autistic and whatever other mental health issues he's dealing with, that teacher taking away his Nintendo Switch might have been the worst thing that happened to him that whole month. So that kid might not be looking at it like, oh man, she took my Nintendo Switch. Nah, it might have broke his heart to the point where he felt like he needed to get physical, which he did. So hence what I'm saying, people are really going through it. A lot of people going through it emotionally. There are people out here that lost somebody and the person is still living. Listen to me. I'm going to rerun that back. There are people out here that lost somebody and that person is still living. That might have went over some of y'all heads. There are people that was with somebody, dating somebody, seeing somebody. They lost that person and it just made their whole mind go out of whack. You feel what I'm saying? Because they might have felt like that person was there forever. They might have felt like that person was that future. Well, you don't know what that person was going through, the person on the other end that they lost. That person might have felt like that situation wasn't working for them. That person might have felt like they needed alone time. They might have felt like they needed a hard reset. Sometimes you got to control or delete and stop everything for you. It doesn't matter about the person you're seeing. It doesn't matter about the person you're dating. Your well-being, your emotional well-being, your mental well-being is far more important than the feelings of another person that you were seeing. And I hate to sound harsh about that, but that person that you were seeing might not understand because they are not in your body. They are not charged by your soul and your spirit. So put yourself first. Consciously put yourself first. When I say consciously put yourself first, I say consciously put yourself first because if you were seeing that person, you owe it that person an explanation as to why you have to control or delete and go shut down for a while. You owe it to that person because not everybody has the same emotional makeup as you. We don't. We all see life differently. We see life differently. We were raised differently. We have different values. We have different turn-up buttons. You feel what I'm saying? I got an ex, and she experienced stuff. She was beat on by the last two dudes that was before her, and first question was, "Are you crazy?" I said, "I'm hood crazy, baby. I ain't gonna beat you up. I'm gonna beat the dude up that ever stepped to you." There's a difference. I let her know off the rip. I said, I'm not beat a woman crazy. I'm hood crazy, which is totally different because I don't condone hitting women. But I think that person who chooses to step away owes that to that person that they were dealing with. You owe it to that person. Now, you might not be able to convey it to where they accept it or they fully understand it. You can only let that person know in your own way, but let that person know. It's not about letting that person down mean. It's about letting that person know and speaking your truth to that person because at the end of the day, that person might respect it. This is how I am. If I'm seeing somebody, we've been dating for a while. If we was dating for a long time, I might be upset. But or if we was dating for, you know what I'm saying? If I was really, really feeling shorty and she comes to me and she says, this is not for me no more. This is not working for me no more. I have to step away from myself. I have to be happy. I am going to totally respect it. You know why I'm going to totally respect it? One, because I know me, I'm going to bounce right back. So that's number one. And not to sound cocky, but that's just me. Because at the end of the day, I believe everybody is seasonal when it comes to friendships, when it comes to, well, some friendships are for life, hopefully. But when it comes to dating, if it's not like really, really long-termish, people are seasonal. You know what I'm saying? You have to decide if that person is going to be seasoned or not. But one, I'm going to bounce back. Two, I respect myself enough to fall back. And three, I respect that person enough to give them their space so that way they could be happy. They might fall back from me and then walk out down the block and then find the love. She might find the love of her life. Who am I to hold her back from that? I'm not that type of person. But G is the boy product, Life of Produk Podcast, episode 122. Be stingy with yourself. I promise I'm going to get back to keeping the consistency with y'all because I love y'all, man. Y'all supporting the show. Thank you very much. I'm out, baby. G.
You are now listening to the Life of Produk Podcast.